Den, live from Pasquale's Pizza, Highway 31 in Cullman. Every Wednesday afternoon, 5:30 to 6:30 this football season. We've been right here at Pasquale's Pizza for the Bearcat Den. We're here again this afternoon. The buffet is on the inside, going strong, and out here on the patio, the temperature is just right. The curtains are up, the breeze is blowing. Coaches and players are on their way, and we're getting set to bring you this week's edition of the Bearcat Den, live here from Pasquale's Pizza on Highway 31 in Cullman. I'm Tommy Warhurst. We are live on Cullman's Live 95, and we're also live on Cullman's Live 95.5's Facebook page as well. Hello to all of you out there in Facebook land. Later on tonight, if you miss any of the show, we'll have the show uploaded to the Cullman's Live 95's YouTube channel, and you can always go back and rewatch it on Cullman's Live 95.5's Facebook page. Big win last week for the Bearcats up at Decatur, and a big home game this coming Friday night. The last regular season game, the last home game of the season. Maybe. There may be one more coming up. If we can get past the first round of the playoffs, we'll make it host a playoff game. But it will be senior night, Friday night, as the Bearcats host Buckhorn. And then on Saturday, well, we're going to have something really special here on Cullman's Live 95 on Saturday. At noon on Saturday in Fairview is the Youth Football Championships. And we are proud to be able to broadcast the Cullman and Fairview championship game in youth football for you right here on Cullman's Live 95. Yes, if there's sports going on in and around Cullman, we're going to find a way to bring it to you. We're going to have the Cullman C team and the Fairview F team in the youth championship game this coming Saturday at noon right here on Cullman's Live 95. Christopher Greer is going to have that game for you, so spread the word. Youth football coming up on Saturday at noon after high school football here on Cullman's Live 95 on Friday. Also, on Friday night here on Cullman's Live 95, two huge games as Good Hope faces off against Dora and Fairview host East Limestone. Those games will be right here on Cullman's Live 95 and the Cullman Community Radio family of stations there on the stream and on the app. We are at Pasquale's Pizza on Highway 31 in Cullman, getting set for the Bearcat Den tonight. Coach Danny Stiff and players are on their way. You can come join us too. The buffet's on the inside. It'll be going all night long tonight. Great food and great pasta, great atmosphere and drinks here at Pasquale's Pizza. If you have not been to Pasquale's since they remodeled the place, you are really missing out. Let this be your invitation to come by and join us tonight in the Bearcat Den here at Pasquale's Pizza. Coach Stiff will be here momentarily. Players are on the way, too. We'll talk about last week's big win at Decatur and look ahead to this coming Friday night, senior night at Oliver Woodard Stadium, Mark Britton Field, as the Cats host the Bucks of Buckhorn. All that coming up today here on the Bearcat Den, live from Pasquale's Pizza. Back in a moment. Cullman Community Radio, powered by Cullman's Live 95, is your home for Friday Night Live. Nobody covers more high school football in Cullman County than Cullman Community Radio, powered by Cullman's Live 95. Go to your favorite app store and download the Cullman's Live 95.5 app. Then select the channel of the game you want to hear. This week, the Fairview Aggies look to remain unbeaten as they host East Limestone. And the Good Hope Raiders look to extend their winning streak and get revenge against the Dora Bulldogs. Visit live95cullman.com for more information on channel assignments, this week's schedule, and to grab our mobile app. Cullman County High School Football on Cullman's own Live 95. Friday Night Live is brought to you in part by Cyber Broadband, Plus One Heating and Air, Cleaning and More Cullman, Josh Phillips of Impact Mortgage Group, Merchants Bank, Cullman Electric Co-op, Tisha Brewer of State Farm, Cullman Savings Bank, Adam Aker of Mitch Smith Chevrolet, Cullman Appliance Repair, Odin's Auto Glass, Lister Hill Credit Union, 212 Insurance, H&S Appliance, Guthrie's Automotive, Denton Seamless Gutters, Hagamore Heating and Air, and the Warhurst Team Realtors at Hagamore Realty Group. Friday Night Live on the Cullman County Sports Network, powered by Cullman's Live 95.
In today's world, broadband internet is an absolute necessity. Unfortunately, the large cable and phone companies only provide broadband internet where it's profitable for them. For the rest of us, there's Cyber Broadband. Providing internet service since 2004, Cyber utilizes a small radio antenna to deliver broadband where cable and DSL don't go. You can join the 21st century today with Cyber Broadband, supporting streaming, VPN access, and everything else you've been wanting to do with that slow internet connection. It's Cyber Broadband for the win. They can be found online at cyberbroadband.net or look them up on Facebook.
At Plus One Heating and Air, we believe in more than just fixing your HVAC system. Our team of skilled technicians is dedicated to providing top-notch service with a smile. Whether it's installation, repairs, or maintenance, you can trust Plus One Heating and Air to get the job done right the first time.
I've never experienced service like this before. Plus One Heating and Air not only fixed my heating system promptly, they also ensured everything was running smoothly. They truly care about their customers.
So when you're in need of heating and air services, remember the company that's willing to walk that extra mile for you. Plus One Heating and Air, where trust meets exceptional service.
So I'd been battling depression for quite a while, and I tried different medications, and it would get better, but then they would start to taper off. And I would fall back into those feelings of apathy, worthlessness, and not wanting to do anything. After TMS, I wake up every day energized and ready to take on the day.
We started SoundMind TMS to provide treatments for depression and anxiety that really work. We'd love for you to come to the office for consultation to see if TMS may save your life.
SoundMind TMS, 256-735-9475. Or for more information, you can visit our website, soundmindtms.com.
Cullman's Live 95.
Live 95.5.
It's awesome.
Welcome back into the Bearcat Den, live from Pasquale's Pizza here in Cullman on Highway 31. Special thanks to Jamie Blanton and all her team at Alabama Closing and Title. They're providing meals tonight for the Cullman High School football players and cheerleaders tonight. So this is your invitation, players and cheerleaders, to come on out and join us in the Bearcat Den tonight as we look back at a big win last week over Decatur, and we look ahead to Senior Night, Friday night, as the Bearcats host Buckhorn. I'm joined by Cullman head coach Danny Stiff. Coach, welcome back into the Bearcat Den, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Last week, the curtains were down. It seemed a little cool, but today, the temperature is perfect. Curtains are up. Not a better place to be than right here on the patio at Pasquale's.
Yeah, it's perfect out here.
Especially after a big win last week over one of our big rivals at Decatur.
Yeah. And the 20th time ever, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's big. That's big. That kept sticking with me that we'd only beat them 19 times. You know, I didn't let that one go. That one stuck with me. So I'll remember that from here on out. It's hard to get a win against those guys.
Yes. We were fortunate enough to do last week's game right here on Cullman's Live 95. Chris Branham and myself had the game from Decatur last week, and in talking to you before the game, you talked about kind of wanting to start fast and have some good things happen early.
Yeah.
We took the opening kickoff, drove down, going in to score, and we fumble going in the end zone. I'm thinking, oh, no, that's not a good thing happening. But immediately after that, our defense gets a turnover and goes in and score. Talk about that first drive offensively and then the first defensive series.
Yeah, I mean, everything's really playing out how you want it to. The first drive, you know, and it's a very we get down, we fumble on the 1 yard line. Very questionable call. I think if you watch it on film, he's basically laying on his back and the ball's still in his hands. Yeah. So I don't know how that's not down. Luckily, I don't get fined for disagreeing with the referee, so I can say something. So that wasn't the best call in the world, and so the great drive. It was a great drive, a great play. The one thing I would say, is Hudson Wilhite. I just told him don't stretch that ball when we got a first down. Stretch that ball when it's fourth down, and he should be be a little more protective of the football because we just got a first down on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Odds are we're going to score there. But other than that, we came back out on defense. And I think we had a series. I think within 5 plays, we had 3 turnovers.
Yes.
On defense. So that's pretty stellar. That's a pretty hot way to start a game. And with a team like that struggled winning, they've got a few losses on their record. You kind of put them away early and let them think that it's like every other game they've been playing, and they're just gonna kind of fold up into it. So it was a really good start to the game. I was super proud of how we played. I was a little worried about them being distracted by Decatur's record and maybe not taking them as lightly, but I thought we came out on fire and played well.
I would have to agree. We got that fumble recovery, went down, scored, kicked off to Decatur, and then 3 or 4 plays later, another fumble.
Yeah.
We recover that one, go in and score again.
Yeah, and the first fumble was a great play by William Collicott. I call him Billy. It's easier to say. I almost said Billy, but I'm sure Mom and Dad don't like that too much.
Yeah.
But he goes by it now. He's accepted it. But and what we did, we ran like a trap coverage, which is basically means our corner's playing like an inside cover too. And they ran so much option that we were going to pull the trigger if we saw the option and go get the pitch man. And he executed it flawlessly. I mean, he pulled the trigger. By about the time the ball was pitched, he hit the guy. Yeah. He didn't have time to catch it yet, and he'd hit him. And ball came out. Troy Mann scooped and scored, and that probably was another controversial call on whether or not he got in. But we ended up punching that one in for a touchdown. So that was just a great all-around play. Coaches and players and everybody kind of executing on the same page and knowing what's coming, and it was awesome. It's a good feeling when you get those.
Yeah.
You've been talking about it all week, been working on it all week, saying, hey, if you get there, you're going to get the ball out. And sure enough, he did.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We sat here last week, and you talked about they've been running more option the last few weeks. So y'all spent a lot of time working on the option. And, boy, the corner that had pitchman, it took me back to 1987 or 86, 87, 88, playing quarter or so forth. And when you see the option coming, you just go and take out the pitchman.
And I knew it would get him the first time because it's so foreign to what we normally do. We've never ran that coverage. It's always our safety is probably the pitchman in their mind. And our safety bailed out, so I'm sure the running back saw that and thought he was going to have some grass in front of him. And boom, then he got popped. So it was good too because they ran so much option. They were not comfortable running the option after that. They called it a few times, but they didn't call it many more times after that. They were a little hesitant to do it, not knowing who was going to be our force player. So it really took them out of their game too.
So we're barely into the first quarter. There's still people coming into the stadium, and then on the very next series, we get a pick, drive down, and score again.
Yeah, and I think at that point they were just trying to guess what coverage we were in, and then our corner bailed deep, and he thought he was going to throw it over him, but our corner was, played it great, and it's one of our normal base quarters coverages, and he threw it right to him. I mean, surprisingly, and so I think they were in a little bit of a guessing game, not knowing what we were going to be in. That happened to him a few times throughout the night. So it was a good play, good heck of a catch coming down with the football, and then getting our offense back. And I don't think our offense got stopped, except for that first drive. I think we scored on every other drive we had. So complete game on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
We were up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then I can't remember if Chance's pick was the one that led to that one or if his led to getting us up 28-0. But I thought about him sitting here the week before talking about being in man coverage and getting some opportunities to make a play. And he had the guy covered.
Yeah.
He was covered up. I don't know where the ball was going to go, but he made an incredible interception on that play.
I believe that was in the first quarter because we were still going toward their away from the scoreboard over there, or toward that scoreboard over there. So, I mean, it was when you can get 3 turnovers in the first quarter and you're scoring on offense, I mean, that's a hard thing to come back from. It really is. I don't care what team it is. That's hard to come back from.
So talk about the attitude at the half. We're up big at the half, but we also know anything can happen in the half. Just as well as things went our way in the first half, things could go Decatur's way in the second half. How did you bring our guys back down to earth a little bit for the second half?
You can always gauge the locker room when you get in there at halftime. You can kind of hear what they're saying, and they were still pretty fired up. I think when you're executing at that high of a level, You almost just want to get back out there. Like I could have taken about a 3-minute halftime and gone back, just so you don't get cold, especially when it's a little chilly out there. So my message to them was just keep pouring it on. Don't let up, and I'll tell them when it's time to let up. I'll put the twos in.
Yeah.
Other than that, if the ones are out there on offense and defense, they need to keep playing the way we were, and they did.
Big win for the Bearcats last week at Decatur. We get a region win, Coach, and we punch our ticket to the playoffs. We got a little bit of help from Hartselle. We told folks you could cheer for Hartselle for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And that's about all it took. Hartselle knocked off Jasper. We earned a playoff berth. Your second year at Cullman, you're going to make it into the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Yeah. I'd like to make it not be a 4 seed one year. That'd be nice. Not having to match up with these 1 seeds. But, I'll take some more football. And, the playoffs are just different. It just feels different. The weather gets a little colder. Everything is just different about it. I love the playoffs even since I was a player. There's just something special about it. So it's good for these guys to get to go to do that. And then, you just roll the dice and you never know what's going to happen. You see regardless of who you play, once you can get hot as a team and you can make a run in the playoffs.
Yep.
So, we just want to take it 1 week at a time when we get there, and I look forward to that. I love coaching those games.
Practices always seem a little bit more fun after a big win. Talk about practice this week in preparation for Buckhorn.
Yeah, it's been a good week of practice. We've got a few things different. We'll see on both sides of the ball, from offensively and defensively. We've installed some new stuff. And, Buckhorn's got a lot of athletes. So we got to be able to compensate for that and kind of take care of big plays and stuff like that on defense and make sure that, we're attacking their man coverage, which is mainly what they play on their defensive side. So, it's a lot. The good thing is when you come into a week and you've got some new stuff to put in, it usually refocuses the players, and they kind of have to dial in to learn the new stuff. And it's a little fresher because you're not just running the same stuff you've been running week after week. So I really like on Mondays coming in and there's something new to teach them and work through. And, it makes a little more urgency on the week because they know they got to get it right by Friday.
Yep. Our defense had a big night. Linebackers, defensive backs had a big night. Saw Preston Gay was named the Alpha Player of the Week last week. Cooper Lofton had a big night. I think Stevie Prologo scored a touchdown last week. Those are the guys that people see and know about. But talk about the guys in the trenches, offensively and defensively, that may not get the recognition that set the things up that happened good for us Friday night.
Yeah, D-line dominated. D-line dominated that game, really took away their inside run and make them get the ball in the perimeter, which we were ready for. So, they had they were in the option, so they got to take the dive. And if they missed that dive, that thing's going to hit for a while. There was one play that got blown dead where we didn't take the dive, and you could see the guy had a gaping hole that was going to go for about 30 yards. But they blew the play dead. And at the end, I think it was JC. He realized what he'd done.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that again. So, it starts with those guys up front. And then offensive line, if you're running the ball and throwing the ball and you see your quarterback, standing there and he's clean and, nobody's getting shots on him, it's just a credit to those guys. And, Wyatt Tilkey and Aiden Stewart, Tyson Sims. We had a freshman that actually started the game at center. So he did it. Wyatt did a heck of a job. And then Brody and Miles and all of them, they've been consistent all year. And, I knew, like I said last week, I thought the mismatch in this game was our D-line versus their O-line and our O-line versus their D-line. I thought we were just better there, and we definitely made that come true, and that was we made a statement there.
The D-line kept the quarterback running around and scrambling all night long, and since you don't get fined for talking about calls, what was the explanation on not calling grounding? We had the quarterback going down, falling backwards. He throws the ball straight up in the air. They call roughing the passer on us rather than grounding.
Yeah, it's got to be up there with the worst calls I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. And I told the refs that, too. I told them that to their face. I thought for sure it's the most no-brainer grounding call I've ever seen because there was no receiver in the area. In fact, it hit right inside the sideline. So it hit on the ticks on the outside of the field. The next closest receiver was inside of the hash, and he was blocking somebody. He wasn't even really running a route. Not only that, they had a lineman 10 yards downfield in front of the receiver. And then grounding was the call not being grounding was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the roughing the passer call, he basically just slingshotted it where Ben couldn't even see him throw the ball. He had no idea if he had the ball or not. The ref told Ben that he's got to know whether he's got the ball or not before, which is, I don't even know how you do that. Wild circumstances that was. And when you get calls like that, you're just like, all right, whatever. Like, all right, obviously we're not getting any help from these guys tonight. So, you really got to, I can't get too upset about it and too griping about it. I mean, I do. I say my piece and then I move on. But I need the players to move on from it, too. Right. So I can't let that linger around. And but, yeah, those kind of calls are frustrating because I think everybody in the stands could have made the right call on both sides, could have seen what happened. And for them to mess that up, I mean, they have a tough job out there, but that was pretty egregious.
We controlled the game pretty much from start to finish in the second half. We continued to score, ended up winning 42-14, and we're able to get some young guys in the ball game late and get some good experience. Landon Pitt's got to get in and run the offense in the second half. Talk a little bit about the experience and the value of getting those guys in the game.
Yeah, it's always good when you can get young guys reps. They just need to play better when they get out there. Yeah. We were 40. It was 42-0. It's about midway through the third quarter, I believe. If we would have finished that game with our one offense and one defense, I think we probably would end up being around 60-0, maybe more. But those guys got to come in and execute at a high level too. And we just gave up too many inside runs on defense. It's how they marched the ball down the field. We started just double A gap blitzing them, and they were still getting it. So they got to play better when they get in. But that's why those guys are twos. They got some learning. They got some things they need to do. That experience definitely helps them. And those are some of the guys you're going to be playing with in the future. So you need to get those guys in the mix, get them out there on Friday night. And then getting guys like Landon in. And, we kept him mostly with the one offensive line and a lot of the skill players in, trying to get the ball moving. We just got behind the sticks a little bit. But it's always good for those guys to get reps. It's better than usually what they see on Monday nights in JV, because most of the time when we do that, especially if you're winning, you'll see the ones from the other team for a little bit. So they'll get real good reps. So, anytime you get those guys in when you're winning like that, I'm always happy about it. I just want them to play better when they get in.
Yeah. Big win for the Bearcats Friday night in Decatur. And the last home game of the regular season coming up Friday night. It'll be senior night when we host Buckhorn on Friday night. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back to the Bearcat Den live in Pasquale's Pizza. Special thanks to Jamie Blanton and all of her team at Alabama Closing and Title for providing meals tonight for the football players and cheerleaders that are coming out to the Bearcat Den. Still plenty of room for you and plenty of time for you to come join us as well. The buffet is hot and tasty on the inside. Plenty of drink specialties for you as well. We're at Pasquale's Pizza on Highway 31 in Cullman. Great atmosphere and temperature out here on the patio as well. We're live on Cullman's Live 95 and on Cullman's Live 95's Facebook page as well. Back in a moment with Coach Stiff and players here from the Bearcat Den live at Pasquale's Pizza in Cullman.
We have one of the coolest places right here in Cullman. It's Cleaning and More Cullman on County Road 437. Cleaning and More Cullman has reliable and professional residential and commercial cleaning services tailored to your needs. And I know because we use Cleaning and More Cullman at the Warhurst Team Realtors for our buyers and sellers. Cleaning and More Cullman is more than just cleaning supplies. They have janitorial supplies like trash can liners of all sizes, cleaning supplies, mops, brooms, paper towels, they have it all. Plus concession stand and restaurant supplies like cups, cutleries, plates, to-go containers, bags, straws, nacho trays, even popcorn bags. Cleaning and More Cullman has it all. Need climate control storage? How about 10 by 10, 10 by 15, and 10 by 20 units? And they even have the U-Haul trucks to carry your stuff. You can check them out at cleaningandmorecullman.com. You can get info at info@cleaningandmorecullman.com. Or the way I like, you can dial them up at 256-736-9944. 256-736-9944. Cleaning and More Cullman. County Road 437. Under the big white sign with the U-Hauls.
So I'd been battling depression for quite a while, and I tried different medications, and it would get better, but then they would start to taper off. And I would fall back into those feelings of apathy, worthlessness, and not wanting to do anything. After TMS, I wake up every day energized and ready to take on the day.
We started SoundMind TMS to provide treatments for depression and anxiety that really work. We'd love for you to come to the office for consultation to see if TMS may save your life.
SoundMind TMS, 256-735-9475. Or for more information, you can visit our website, soundmindtms.com.
In the game of mortgages, experience matters. Meet Josh Phillips, a veteran with over 13 years in the mortgage industry. As a leader in the local mortgage community, Josh is more than just a lender. He's a partner who believes in making an impact. At Impact Mortgage Group, they're not just making mortgages. They're making a positive impact on borrowers and our community. You can experience the difference, too, with Josh Phillips at Impact Mortgage Group.
I'm Josh Phillips of Impact Mortgage Group. You can reach me at 256-338-2920, and I'll show you how my experience can help impact your next home purchase.
In MLS number 338177. Are you ready to make your next move in Cullman? Hi, I'm Tommy.
And I'm Angela. We're not just realtors, we're a family dedicated to helping yours.
We're not just about buying or selling property. We're about building connections within our community.
From local schools to charity events, we're active because we care about Cullman.
When you use us, you're not just getting one realtor, you're getting a team working around the clock for you.
With our experience and expertise, we'll guide you through every step of the process.
We're the Warhurst Team Realtors at Hagamore Realty Group.
We make it happen, you make it home.
Live 95.5.
I think it's great, man.
Cullman's Live 95.
Beautiful.
Welcome back into the Bearcat Den, live at Pasquale's Pizza here on Highway 31 in Cullman. We are on Cullman's Live 95 and on Cullman's Live 95's Facebook page as well. Hello to all of you out there in video land. If you miss any of today's show, don't worry. You can always go back and watch it later on the Cullman's Live 95.5's Facebook page, or we'll have it uploaded to our YouTube channel later on tonight. Special thanks to Jamie Blanton of Alabama Closing and Title for providing meals this afternoon for players and cheerleaders here at Pasquale's Pizza in the Bearcat Den. That's who a lot of our realtors at Hagamore Realty Group trust for title work. If you need to have someone added to a deed, or you just have questions about your property, is your property protected right with title insurance and so forth, Jamie and her team there at Alabama Closing and Title can help you out. Special thanks to you, Jamie, for all your support of Cullman football athletics and for sponsoring meals here for the players and cheerleaders here in the Bearcat Den. I'm Tommy Warhurst, joined by Cullman head coach Danny Stiff, and now we're joined by sophomore offensive lineman Wyatt Tilking and junior defensive lineman Jack Cambridge. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in the Bearcat Den.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jack, I'll start with you first, sir. A great defensive effort last week. We forced 4 turnovers. Talk about the defensive effort last week at Decatur and won. How sweet it is to get a win over Decatur again as a junior.
I mean, it's great. We had a tough win last year. Got us like in a goal line stop. We had to get a goal line stop to win it, and it was good. We came out a little flat in pregame, and I was a little nervous, but then we came out, forced 4 turnovers. I think we had 3 drives back-to-back where we forced 3. So it gave us a little confidence, and then we just kept rolling.
Wyatt, there's probably not a lot of sophomores who've started on the offensive line at Cullman. Cullman has a rich tradition of good offensive linemen. You're growing in to be one of those. Your offense put up 42 points last week. Talk about the effort from the offense.
Like Jack said, we didn't really start off too good in pregame, but we came out and we started rolling. We had an iffy fumble call at the beginning, and then we just bounced back off of it, and we kept rolling ever since. So, I mean, I feel like we just performed how we were supposed to.
Yeah, and I'm going to give credit to Coach Pounds and I guess Coach Esmond over there and probably Coach Britt. We're doing pregame warm-ups, and then I hear Coach Esmond and Coach Pounds and Coach Britt all just start yelling at him. So I guess they didn't think their energy was very good, and that's what they're referring to in pregame. So credit to those coaches for getting these guys fired up, because they definitely came out and started playing fast. So I don't know how y'all started over there. I don't usually see y'all in that part of pregame, but y'all must have not been moving around too good. They got a hold of y'all pretty good.
So what was happening in pregame?
You know, we do separate indie, and we came over. We do pass pro, and like we get a little like run fit, and we just weren't having the intensity that we usually have. And I think coaches realized that, so they got us a little fired up.
Boy, it worked because you guys came out right out of the gate, drove right down the field, Wyatt. You mentioned the questionable call. It is what it is. It's over and done with there. But offense went on to have a big night, and a lot of that is because of your guys up there up front in the trenches. Talk about some of the guys you're side-by-side with there, some of your brothers there on the offensive line, and then brag on your running backs and your receivers and your quarterback, and talk about some of those plays.
Yeah, I got to play with him last year, and Pierce Bartle, he was there last year too. And Tyson took his role, and Tyson's been really good. He's been every day at practice, putting the work. You have Miles at left tackle. He's there every day putting the work. You have Brody Cobbs. He's there every day putting the work. And you have Aiden Stewart. He's there putting the work in every day. And I feel like the more days we come in and put in work, the better we get, and the more bonds we get. And the more time we spend together, the better we do on the O-line. And, I mean, Cooper Lofton, he might be the best running back in high school we've ever had. And Rex, he couldn't play, but he's really good too. And, I mean, as a unit together, we were just pushing the ball down the field, and we were just really successful.
We're talking with Wyatt Tilking, sophomore offensive lineman, Jack Cabry, junior defensive lineman, Cullman head coach Danny Stiff. I'm Tommy Warhurst. We're in the Bearcat Den at Pasquale's Pizza, live on Cullman's Live 95, WRJMLP, Cullman, Alabama. Jack, same question to you, sir, but talk about it from the defensive side. 4 turnovers, fumble recoveries, and 2 picks. Talk about the effort of your defense and brag on some of those guys.
It's a great defensive effort all around. I mean, we got some alpha dogs in Ben Conway and J.C. Patterson, and then the secondary, they're like a family out there. They depend on each other, like Jay Stahl and T-Brock and Chance and Troy. They're all just big parts of the team, and then we're just a family. We keep it together, and we just execute.
Coach, these 2 guys won't brag on themselves. I'm going to give you a chance to brag on old number 9 and old number 77 right there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason. I got a junior and a sophomore over here, but I consider them, this is really their second year being starters. I mean, Jack, did you start last year? You played a lot. Yeah, he played enough to, in my mind, he started last year. So these guys not only have done it this year as underclassmen, they were doing it last year as underclassmen, and they'll be a big part of us moving forward. Really, some of the foundational guys we'll have coming into next year, and they've done a great job this year. They the way they come to work, just the way they are as kids, they're really good kids, but they got a little edge to them, and that's a good thing about Cullman. We got a bunch of kids that they're good kids, but they got enough in them to when they play football, they get a little bit of mean streak about them. So they do a great job for us, and they do a great job on and off the field. And I couldn't brag on these 2 enough on what they do and kind of what they mean to our team and what they're going to mean to our team in the future, too.
Wyatt, as a sophomore, you're 2-0 against Decatur, one of your big rivals. Talk a little bit about that and what that means.
Well, I mean, I've just heard a real good backstory about Decatur, and I feel very confident in the next few years that we might come out with a few victories as well.
Yeah.
Hartselle, I still want one on Hartselle. Jasper, we just need to keep beating Jasper. Muscle Shoals, I want one against Muscle Shoals too, and I want one against Athens as well. I want all the region games next year. That'll be a really good feat.
I say we just come out and wipe the slates clean, win them all next year.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Jack, from your perspective too, sir, you've got another year coming back, but you've got 2 wins against a big rival, and you're earning some great experience. Talk about that.
I mean, it is great experience. It'll prepare me for next year. And then Decatur's a deep rivalry with me. Most of my family's from Decatur and lives in Decatur. So, like last year, I played against my cousin, played receiver.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's just a deep rivalry. And then I like all the rivals we have. Hartselle, Muscle Shoals, they're great games. And Athens, I mean, it's just always a great game to play in.
We talked to a lot of the guys after Jasper, and I'm going to go back to that game just because it was one of those games that's kind of fun to play in. One because you got a big win, one because you had a great celebration, but it's a good sloppy game. And for you guys on the O-line and D-line, those big, wet, physical, muddy games have got to be fun to play in. Let's reflect back on that one just a little bit, Wyatt.
Well, we came off and it wasn't that bad, but then through the middle of the game, it started raining heavy. It was like you're in 10-pound boots walking out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, our run game was really good. We just kept hitting the holes hard. We kept pushing them out of the way, and we finally came out with the victory because Jasper didn't want it in the second half, and we did. So I feel like that really helped us in the end with our effort.
We get a big region win at Decatur Friday night, and we go into this week our last regular season game at home, and we welcome in the Bucks of Buckhorn, coached by Matt Patterson. They're 4-4 on the season, coach. They're averaging 21 points a game, giving up 27. Cullman's 3-1 against Buckhorn. Last time we played was in 2021. We won that game 35-0. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from Coach Patterson's Bucks on film this week.
Yeah, very athletic team. I mean, I know y'all probably think I say that every week, but these guys are, especially on the outside skill players on offense, they've got 3 receivers, about as good as we've seen, probably as a unit, at the best receiving unit we've seen. So when you're playing athletes, and then defensively they got really good athletes that they play a lot of just man coverage. So you got to find creative ways to get open on offense and find ways to run the football against that, because when they're playing basically zero man, they got a lot of guys in the box when they're not blitzing like that. So you got to get pretty creative in the run game, and the pass game kind of go off what you're doing there in the run game. But I've tried to let our guys know that, especially from a secondary standpoint, this is about as scary as unit as you're going to see. So we'll help them as coaches, against those guys. We'll play a little lighter in the box. Just going to put more on Jack and them on the run game. They got to do a little more in the run game, and really take another gap away that we're not going to have a guy for. But it's not it's probably not the best matchup you want to see for us. You know what I mean? They got guys in spots that are pretty lethal. So, we just got to go out and execute and try to cover up for where maybe we're deficient, where they're really good at, and just execute the game plan and go out there and make sure we can stop the run with 6, 7 guys in the box instead of 8 and 9 guys.
So, Wyatt, from an O-line perspective, talk about that. Talk about what you guys have seen on film and what you think may be able to work for us and what we're going to have to look for from them to try to keep our quarterback protected and our running backs in the open field.
Well, they don't really blitz much, but they do have a really good linebacker, and he's really good at reading. He'll crash hard. And number 42, he's really good as well. He's our D lineman, and he can spill, he can swim, he can do it all. And I feel like if we take care of those two, we'll have a good run and pass game all night. But I think our pass game will be really strong.
Jack, from a defensive perspective, they have a lot of talent. They've got a lot of speed, and they really have nothing to lose. They can throw everything at us. So talk about some of the things that we're trying to prepare for and what we expect to see from the Bucks on Friday night.
Just like Coach Stiff said, they're a deep wide receiver units. The guys in the box, we're going to have to play like we did against Hartselle and stuff them in the run so they'll make them one-dimensional, and we'll come out with a victory.
Big game coming up Friday night as we welcome in the Buckhorn Bucks on Senior Night at Oliver Woodard Stadium in Mark Britton Field. We'll continue looking ahead to Friday night's game against Buckhorn when we return here in the Bearcat Den. We're at Pasquale's Pizza in Cullman on Highway 31. Plenty of room inside for you. The buffet is hot and tasty. A lot of drink varieties on the inside, too. So if you haven't had dinner yet, you can come by and join us for dinner here in the Bearcat Den at Pasquale's Pizza before you get to church on Wednesday night. The buffet is on the inside. We're outside on the patio. Temperature is absolutely perfect. So you can come by and join us in the Bearcat Den. We'll be back in a moment. We'll continue looking ahead to Buckhorn on Friday night, senior night here for the Bearcats at Oliver Woodard Stadium, Mark Britton Field, when we come back here on Cullman's Live 95.
In 1952, 7 men at an aluminum plant banded together and started Lister Hill Credit Union with only $5 each. Today, more than 92,000 have joined us, continuing the legacy of supporting themselves and the community through Lister Hill. It's all about we and what we can do together.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tisha Brewer right here in Cullman could switch you over and you could start saving today. Tisha and her team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tisha Brewer, it's easy to switch and save.
I'm Tisha at Tisha Brewer State Farm. We're located behind Cook's Pest Control at 909 Fisher Street. You can reach us at 256-734-4645. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cullman Electric Cooperative's mission is to make life better in the communities we serve. That starts by providing reliable, affordable electricity, while our Sprout Fiber Internet service delivers blazing fast broadband internet to homes, schools, and businesses. Cullman Electric Cooperative is a proud supporter of student athletes, cheerleaders, and band members who work hard every day to make their families and community proud. Cullman Electric Cooperative and Sprout Fiber Internet, powerful connections, brighter future.
Cullman Community Radio, powered by Cullman's Live 95, is your home for Friday Night Live. Nobody covers more high school football in Cullman County than Cullman Community Radio, powered by Cullman's Live 95. Go to your favorite app store and download the Cullman's Live 95.5 app. Then select the channel of the game you want to hear. This week, the Fairview Aggies look to remain unbeaten as they host East Limestone. And the Good Hope Raiders look to extend their winning streak and get revenge against the Dora Bulldogs. Visit live95cullman.com for more information on channel assignments, this week's schedule, and to grab our mobile app. Cullman County High School Football on Cullman's own Live 95. Friday Night Live is brought to you in part by Cyber Broadband, Plus One Heating and Air, Cleaning and More Cullman, Josh Phillips of Impact Mortgage Group, Merchants Bank, Cullman Electric Co-op, Tisha Brewer of State Farm, Cullman Savings Bank, Adam Aker of Mitch Smith Chevrolet, Cullman Appliance Repair, Odin's Auto Glass, Lister Hill Credit Union, 212 Insurance, H&S Appliance, Guthrie's Automotive, Denton Seamless Gutters, Hagamore Heating and Air, and the Warhurst Team Realtors at Hagamore Realty Group. Friday Night Live on the Cullman County Sports Network, powered by Cullman's Live 95. And also, after Friday Night Live on Friday night, we're going to have Championship Saturday in youth football right here on Cullman's Live 95, live from Fairview. Saturday at noon, the Cullman C Youth Team takes on the Fairview F Team for the Youth Football Championship. Christopher Greer, the voice of the Fairview Aggies, will have that game for you right here on Cullman's Live 95. Yes, not only broadcast high school football, broadcast the Bama Tailgate Show on Saturday mornings and Leonard's Losers and the Bearcat Den. We're going to give you Youth Football Championship this coming Saturday beginning at noon right here on Cullman's Live 95. I'm Tommy Warhurst in the Bearcat Den here at Pasquale's Pizza, live on Cullman's Live 95 and on Cullman's Live 95's Facebook page. I'm joined by Cullman head coach Danny Stiff, sophomore offensive lineman Wyatt Tilking, and junior defensive lineman Jack Cabry. The Bearcats welcome in Buckhorn this week for only the fifth meeting between the Bearcats and the Bucks. Cullman holds the advantage, 3 wins to 1 loss. Coach, the only win Buckhorn had against us came back on October the 3rd of 1997. The last 2 times we've played them, Jack, they haven't scored. We beat them 30. We've outscored them 55-0 the last 2 times. So there's a challenge to the defense for Friday night.
Yeah, definitely. We want to go into every game thinking it's going to be a shutout, and we always want to perform a shutout, but sometimes it doesn't go our way. But I think this week we'll perform up to standard.
And Wyatt, if we continue in those streaks, we've outscored them 55-0. We scored 35-0 and beat them back in 2021, and then in 2020 it was 20-0. So challenge to the offense as well, I think.
It is. I think we can do it. We can definitely do it. We came out, we performed like Decatur did, and then we did like Hartsville, then we can definitely put up some big points.
This week is going to be senior night, and I'm going to give you 2 guys an opportunity that nobody else has gotten because you're here for the Wednesday in the Bearcat Den before Senior Friday. But coming through a football program as a freshman to a sophomore now and a junior, you've had lots of different guys come through the program that you've learned from. But I want to give you a moment now to talk about this senior class and what kind of leaders they are, and how they've led your team, what kind of friends they are, athletes and brothers they are in your program.
From a defensive standpoint, I mean, they're just great leaders. We got J.C. Patterson, who's a great leader overall, and then Ben Conway, he's our alpha leader. And then Jay Stahl in the back end, he gets all of them sorted out. And after, I think the way they showed their leadership after the Bob Jones game, that was a rough game, but they kept us in order. And, I mean, that's what all you want from captains like that.
Wyatt, I'll ask the same question to you, sir.
As offensive line, I mean, we're all leaders together, but our main leader is Preston. He gets us right. He picks us up when we do wrong. He tells us when blitzes are coming, and he just helps us to get in the mindset of who we're about to play and how we should perform. I feel like for the tight ends, we got Cooper Ogstad. He's played really good this year. We have Hudson Wilhite, and we have Colton Borden. Grayson Gay, he's another sophomore. And, I mean, all of our seniors are just stepping up and boosting our morale and helping us to just keep going every game and playing better and better each game.
You talked about him momentarily earlier in the show, but brag on and talk about old number 6 a little bit, who hadn't played a lot of football his whole life.
Yeah, it's his freshman year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ever since Mortimer Jordan, he's just been doing better and better each game. I mean, when you want 10 yards, he gets it. I mean, even if we block a little bit wrong, he can hit the hole as hard as he can. He can just get 10 more yards and just squeeze for more and more. I feel like he just performs every week, and he's just a really big asset to this team.
Was it Silver where he hit the cutback finally last week?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been trying to get him to. So it's an outside zone play. Been trying to get him to hit that cutback because it's usually there, and there's usually get a big divide, when you run wide zone. And man, he hit that cutback last week, stiff-armed a guy and scored a touchdown. That's one of the proudest I've ever been of him, to finally see that and hit it like that instead of keep trying to bounce it out. And when it's not there, he cut it back, stiff-armed a guy and scored a touchdown. That was a great run by him.
And for you folks listening at home, I realize I just said old number 6. We know who we're talking about, but we're talking about Cooper Lofton.
Yeah.
Defensively, Jack, I want to give you a moment to talk about number 20, Cam Myers. What kind of player and teammate leader he's been for your program?
Cam's just a freak athlete. I mean, he's so athletic and he's so strong, and he's a great leader as well. Him and Conway, they're both great linebackers. They both get us how we need to be on the defensive end. They always communicate the call, and it just makes life easy when you have two leaders like that.
And I want to say a special thanks to Cam's mom, Jamie Blanton, and all of her team at Alabama Closing and Title. They stepped up the last 2 weeks and provided meals for players and cheerleaders here in the Bearcat Den. We'll have another opportunity for you to do that if your business would like to help support Cullman football and cheer here in the Bearcat Den. We'll give you an opportunity to provide meals for them in the Bearcat Den coming up either next week or the week after next year. If you'd like to do that, just reach out to me, and we'll tell you how that you can do that. Before I let you two guys get out of here and get back to your pizza and pasta, because I know we interrupted you early, something we've talked to every player about and even coaches in the Bearcat Den has been your most embarrassing moment on the football field. And Wyatt, we'll start with you, sir.
It's probably got to be my first game as a freshman. I mean, I went the wrong way a few times. Missed some blocks. I came from 8th grade, and I just didn't know how much better the competition was going to be. I mean, I got shot backwards by a linebacker. It was interesting.
Yeah,
that's probably my best embarrassment.
We all had a hard time in that Mars Hill game, man.
Jack, you've had a chance to think on yours, sir. What's your most embarrassing moment on the field, sir?
I'd probably have to say Etowah last year. I was in, and the quarterback, he's a really good athlete. I think he's playing baseball somewhere in college.
Mississippi State, yeah.
And he was their quarterback, and he was rolling out, and I had a free shot on him, and he just pump faked, and I jumped up in the air, and he ran for about 30 yards down the sideline. I just remember coming to the sideline, getting yelled at.
Yeah.
And, it was just embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming in the Bearcat Den today. It's been fun watching you guys play. We're not done yet. We're going to watch you play several more games, we hope, throughout the season. Best of luck on Friday night against the Buckhorn Bucks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We're in the Bearcat Den live at Pasquale's Pizza. When we come back, we'll talk with Coach Danny Stiff, give him a chance to brag and talk on his senior class that'll be honored Friday night pregame before the Bearcats take on the Buckhorn Bucks. We are at Pasquale's Pizza in the Bearcat Den here on Highway 31. Back in a moment here on Cullman's Live 95.
Hey, Cullman drivers. Are you tired of the hassle and confusion when it comes to buying a car? Well, we've got fantastic news for you. Meet Adam Aker at Mitch Smith Chevrolet in Cullman, your go-to guy for a no-nonsense car buying experience.
Hey, folks. Adam here. Buying a car shouldn't be stressful. That's why at Mitch Smith Chevrolet, we pride ourselves on transparency, trust, and there's never any BS at MS.
That's right. Adam Aker and the Mitch Smith Chevrolet team are changing the game.
I live and breathe Cullman, just like you. So when you step into our showroom, you're not just another customer, you're family. Together, we'll find the perfect vehicle to fit your needs and budget. Remember, Adam Aker, Mitch Smith Chevrolet, what's not to love?
Live 95 is brought to you in part by Merchants Bank of Alabama, a division of South Point, now with several locations across the state, but still located in the heart of Cullman County. They are a proud sponsor of Cullman Community Radio on Live 95. Merchants Bank of Alabama, a division of South Point Bank, member FDIC.
Need to be seen? GoTee Screen Printing and Embroidery can get your name and logo seen all over town. Whether it's hats, shirts, jackets, or hoodies, GoTee Screen Printing and Embroidery can hook you up. They also have promotional items like pins, cups, koozies, bags, and more. Does your club, team, or school need a fundraiser? GoTee Screen Printing and Embroidery can set up an online store for you. From concept to completion, GoTees can take care of all your promotional needs. GoTees Screen Printing and Embroidery. For more information, you can visit www.shopgotees.com. That's GOOTEES. GoTees Screen Printing and Embroidery.
Anytime you're ready. Live 95.
Cullman's Independent Radio.
Better check it out.
Welcome back into the Bearcat Den, live at Pasquale's Pizza here on Cullman's Live 95 and on Cullman's Live 95's Facebook page. Don't worry, if you missed any of today's show, you can go back and watch it on the Cullman's Live 95.5's Facebook page, and then a little bit later on tonight, we'll have it uploaded to the Cullman's Live 95's YouTube channel. Coach, hard to believe we're sitting here on Wednesday before the last regular season game. It's amazing how fast the season goes by once you get into it. We have an opportunity on Friday night to honor and recognize some seniors that you've been around for the last couple of years, and I want to give you a moment just to talk about these guys and what they've meant to you, and you coming in here with them as juniors. Those are the guys that you really had to lean on to be leaders and buy into your system so that the rest of the guys would as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild to me that they're about to be done with football, because when I came in here, they were sophomores.
Yeah.
You know, they just got done with their sophomore season, but they were still sophomores in school. So from, those 2 years have gone by really fast with those guys. And, they've been through more. They had 2 years with Coach Glasscock and now 2 years with me. So, as much as almost last year guys were, there's a lot to buy into, and there's a lot of change whenever you get a new coach. And I've never doubted for a second that they weren't fully behind everything we were doing, and just take it and run with it. And there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that have been a big part of this program for the last 2 years that we're really going to miss around here too.
Yeah. Take a moment and just brag on some of your seniors, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through the list here. Some of these guys you'll know from playing on the field, and some you might not, but they all serve a big role in the program. Like Jace Busby, the first one I'm thinking here on the list is he's been hurt all year, so he's he was going to play for us. He's going to play a lot. Whether he's going to be a starter or not, was still kind of up in the air, but he was definitely going to play a lot. And Jace had to battle through injury, so that's always tough on a senior, your last season. So, but Jace is a great kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Guys like Kevin Cobb that don't necessarily play on Friday nights, but those guys are given looks throughout the week.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how important it is to have scouts and people like that that are going to do a good job for your team. Brody Cobbs started for us for both years. He's done a great job. Billy Collicott is one of these guys that didn't play football last year, came back out this year, ended up in a starting role. So that's just a testament to, how he works and how smart he is. Ben Conway is one of the foundations of the team. I'm going to miss Ben from a coaching standpoint as much as anything, because he is my coach on the field.
Yeah.
I'll have to, not dummy it down, but I talk to them guys a little different when I can't talk to Ben the way I can.
What does that mean to a coach? We're gonna take a moment and pause there for a second, and what does it mean to you to have a guy out there that is like a coach on the field that you're in sync with them, and what you're thinking, he's thinking the same thing?
Yeah, it's huge for me, because even if I can tell Ben like what adjustments are coming, and just tell Ben, he'll know. And sometimes Ben will tell me, like, I can get a little look on his face where he's a little confused, and I know that I can't tell the rest of them that. Because if it throws Ben off at all, the rest of them aren't going to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll ask him sometimes. I even ask for his input on things like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like today I stopped the play and told him, when the formation's in the boundary, I want you to put the T call this way. And he says, well, Coach, it'll still work if we do it the way you called it, blah, blah, blah. And he convinced me, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. As long as he knows to play it that way, we're good. It's really just there's the value is beyond something you can put on to have a guy like that out there.
Yeah.
And then he's such a great leader too, just with the rest of the players. So Ben, I hope Ben coaches football and comes back and coaches football with me one day, because he'll be great at it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he could probably do anything with his life, but I would love to have him back. And it's a gap. He bridges the gap between me and the other players of, hey, Ben, this is how I need to communicate this, and help me, like, get it to them in the right digestible way. So it's huge. Huge having Ben out there. And then like Mac Dumas, who didn't play football, came out last year, has stuck with it, played with a broken hand and everything this year. Just everything about that guy's awesome. And the way he goes about his business, I just love Mac. Preston, obviously, another guy that didn't play football before I got here, or he had played as a freshman, didn't play as a sophomore, came back last year. I'll never forget the first 2-hour practice we had last spring. He was the only quarterback we had because our other ones played baseball.
Yeah.
I thought his arm was about to fall off.
Wow.
We'd get to the end of those practices, and I'd have to tell Coach Campbell to start throwing him, because I could tell, he was starting to get a little sore. But Preston gets better every single week. We told y'all it was going to be that way. And last week I think he really put it on the field for a complete game. So,
and speaking of Preston, real quick, Coach, he may be the only starting quarterback that also plays basketball that's been through Cullman High School in the history of the school.
Really?
Chris Branham and I were talking about that last week, and he's been talking to different people, and they said they cannot remember going way back a guy that was the starting quarterback that also played basketball and either started or had a heavy role on the basketball team as well. So that's just a testament to the athlete that he is and the drive that he's got.
Yeah, and people don't realize what that means, like in the summertime. Yeah. So he's going out on the football field. We go 6 to 10 a.m. And then at 10:30, Coach Stu starts up, and then he's there till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whenever it is. So I don't think people realize just the grind that has on these guys. And, he's a good basketball player, too. Yeah. He's really good out there on the court. Price Hall's another guy that's a backup for us on the offensive line, but he's really our 6th offensive lineman. He would probably be the next guy in at center, and you move somebody around. So having a guy that you can count on to know that if somebody goes down, you've got a guy you can put in there and feel pretty confident about. And Price has even done us a favor. He played a JV game, I believe, earlier in the year for us when we were just short on numbers. So that just speaks to his humility and kind of a team guy. And he's a heck of it. He's in the classroom. He's great. Probably one of the best grades we have overall. Brooks Holton's a guy that's funny because Brooks came out for football. He's a bigger guy, came out for football. The first day he was in spring training, he could barely make it through the warm-ups. Didn't think he could do it, wasn't in shape, couldn't do it. He's a guy me and Coach Espin have actually worked out with on his own before he worked out with the team to kind of get him up. And he's made huge strides, just as, he's made huge strides as a football player and as a person, just being in the program. So I'm really proud of Brooks. Bryce Hopper's a guy that really competed for a starting job. He plays as a backup role on defense, but him and Jake Mickle here too, that are seniors, are 2 huge backups that if somebody goes down, we can piece it together and put them out there. And Mickle backs up a bunch of positions. Cooper Lofton, thank goodness he came out to play football.
Yes, for sure.
That's one of those lunchroom recruiting I've been doing, and got to get more of those. We got to get his brother out. That's one guy we got to get out. So Cooper's been awesome. Cooper's a great kid. He's smart. The way he works, you can see how he runs the football. Wish we would have had him for longer, but I'm glad we got him now. That's for sure. Troy Mann, Troy's awesome. Troy's one of the guys that I go back and forth with every day. He's in my room. Troy has gotten so much better as a football player. He couldn't get right last year. He really couldn't get right. He'd go left instead of going right. He'd go right instead of going left. And this year he's been rock solid for us. He's been awesome. And I mentioned Mickle, Cam Myers. Cam's awesome. Cam went from safety to linebacker. He was a little worried about making that transition, but he's killed it. And I knew he'd be good at it. Now he knows he can be good at it. Cooper Ogstad has just been a rock for us. He was one of our better players last year, and he's definitely the main focus of our offense this year from a receiving standpoint. And we moved him to tight end, so he's got to block and do that stuff more. So he's got to be a little get his hands a little dirtier than he's used to. And I love Cooper. I love his family. He's awesome. J.C. Patterson's another rock on our defense as a senior. Really was last year too. I'm going to miss J.C.'s just playmaking ability, miss J.C.'s attitude and his just toughness and just kind of the way he plays and his grit about him. But J.C.'s an awesome kid. Alex Perez is another guy that doesn't play a lot for us, but Alex brings a lot of personality to the team. Everybody loves Alex. Tucker Perry, a guy that moved from quarterback to defensive line, and he's playing for us this year. So that's a testament to Coach Essman and getting him ready to play defensive line, and Tucker just for being just tough as nails. You know what I mean? He's done great there. And then, Dylan Pozos, another guy that didn't play a lot last year. He's really been starting this year. I give Coach Essman credit for developing him, and he's done a great job throughout the year. He gets better and better. He's one of those little bowling balls, so he's hard to block. And then Stevie Pro Logo was hurt last year, has come back this year, and been a huge spark to our offense, especially with Cooper. And Carson Sanders, another guy that played running back, has been hurt a little bit, but he gives us good looks. Tyson Sims didn't play a lot last year, came back this year. He's been our starting center. He's been rock solid all year. Miles Smith, another returning starter who's been great for us. Love Miles. Miles is just a good, quiet kid that goes about his business and gets it done. Really standard offensive lineman guy. Jackson Stallings, who I didn't know if he'd be very good last year. He wasn't very serious about it. When that offseason flipped and he was a senior, he got about as serious as you could get about football. And he's been awesome for us. He's been one of the staples of our defense this year. You see him flying all around the field. Aiden Stewart, same thing. Started a couple games last year on the O-line, but it's really took off this year with taking that role at tackle. And then Hudson Wilhite, who played a little bit last year. I always saw a little spark in Hudson, but Hudson's really taken it off this year. He's had some really big plays at really big times, and last week he had a great game. He's had a few great games this year, so I'm proud of these guys, man. I'm going to miss these guys. That's a good thing about the seniors from last year that I've learned from this year, man. They'll keep in touch with me, especially they'll come around and see me at the field house. So, I'm going to miss these guys, but, it's been a good run with them, and I really appreciate everything they've done for us in the program and just how they've responded to a new coach last year for sure.
We'll honor these seniors on Friday night before kickoff against Buckhorn. I believe that all starts about 6:25 on Friday night there from Oliver Woodard Stadium, Martin Britton Field. So get there early, and let's help recognize our senior football players, cheerleaders, and band members for the game against Buckhorn. Coach, before I let you get out here and let you go get your pizza, sir, talk about what it's going to take for us to end the season, regular season, with a big win against Buckhorn Friday night.
Well, we got to play sound. They got a lot of weapons, so we got to be what we're supposed to be. And make sure, we got the offensive line. We're blocking the right people. There's a lot of people in the box. They're playing man coverage. So we got to get bodies on the right bodies and then just play physical. That's one thing about this team. They go in waves. You'll see at points where they're scary. You know what I mean? The Buckhorn's a scary team. And then they'll kind of go in a lull and they'll go down. They don't just play as consistent. So if we play consistent and stay after them, hopefully we'll get them in more of those lulls, and then we'll be able to take advantage of that. And if we can get up on them early, I don't know how they'll compete for 4 quarters with us if they know the game's in hand.
Yeah.
So that's the plan, is to get out on them early, attack them, be physical with them, be sound in our execution, and then make them beat us and see if they can do that.
Coach, thanks for your time in the Bearcat Den. We'll see you Friday night at Oliver Woodard Stadium, Martin Britton Field for Senior Night as our Bearcats host the Bucks.
Appreciate it, man. See you there.
That's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Bearcat Den from Pasquale's Pizza. Special thanks to Jamie Blanton and all of her team at Alabama Closing and Title for providing meals tonight for players and coaches here in the Bearcat Den. For Wyatt Tilking, Jack Cabry, and Coach Danny Stiff, I'm Tommy Warhurst saying so long. We'll talk to you Friday night from Oliver Woodard Stadium, Martin Britton Field, as the Bearcats take on the Buckhorn Bucks on Senior Night.